All right, this video uh, works through the process of converting a CSV file with point coordinate information into a feature class in ArcPRO, and then assigning to those points attribute information based on polygons that they fall within. So let's talk about it practically. What we have here is a CSV file that has bare locations in it, black bare locations in Florida. Those X and Y coordinates we need to create a point feature class from them, but then we need to assign to each of those points the name of the county that they fall within. Now, if you're working in ArcMap, it's a little bit different than ArcPRO because there's an extra step. And so I'm going to show you the, if you will, the framework for this in both environments, and we're going to work in the ArcPRO environment. So first of all, in ArcMap, what we would be doing is creating an event layer. That's an XY event layer simply by right-clicking on it or again applying this tool. But then we have to convert that event theme into an actual feature class because remember, event themes are temporary. In ArcPRO, this step is skipped over. We would then need to project the data. And in ArcMap, oftentimes the easiest way to do that is simply to export the data from a data frame that has the correct coordinate system. And then we would do the spatial join. Well, in ArcPRO, again, it's a little bit different. So we're going to be in the model builder environment here. And for those of you that are not familiar with that, it's a little bit different, but again, similar layout. But in this case, what we're doing is we're going to XY table to a point. But then because that has geographic coordinates, we're going to then project that data, and project means that we're going to change its projection. We're going to transform its projection into a projected coordinate system, in this case, the USGS coordinate system. It's a conic projection. And then we're going to do the spatial join to the Florida counties. The target is going to be the black bear data, but then we're going to give it the information about counties from the county feature class, and we'll get our black bear data out with that addition to it. Okay, so here we are in the ArcPRO environment, and again, I've built this model. I'm not going to actually run it from the model. We can work on that in another video. If for what it's worth, if you get here, we'll talk about model building in ArcPRO a little bit later on in another video. But what I want to do is go back to the map, and I'm going to walk through this in a sense by using these different processes. So in ArcMap, we now have our bare mortality and our counties, and I need to make this into, if you will, I need to create the point file. So I'm going to right click on it, and again, we're going to go to display XY data. That opens up a geoprocessing tool that is the XY table to point. And again, in this case, the coordinate system of the data is what's here. And we have to maintain that. I'm going to use, instead of the longitude and latitude field, I'm actually going to use the X and Y field. Again, whatever the appropriate coordinate field is. And then I'm going to simply, where this goes to, okay, here, this is our data. And I'm going to click where do I want it to go. In this case, I want this to go into, on my desktop, my results file. And again, you can have it right to wherever is appropriate for yours, but here's my Lab 5 results. And again, we're simply going to call this black bear. And in this case, I'm going to call it geographic because it's in a geographic coordinate system. I'm going to click Save and then Run. Again, this will create our points. Now, again, in this environment, I'm going to close this. The next step that we do have to do, though, is we need to make these into the correct coordinate system. Now, again, one way to do this, it's really quite easy, is in this environment, is to click Export. And if you'll notice this, in terms of our environments, what we can ask is what is the output coordinate system? And here I'm going to say that I want it to be the Florida generalized. And you'll notice that that immediately says, if I'm going to be using this, this is USGS. And so that's fine. And now I'm going to go back to my parameters. So I've set my environment. That's where I set my output coordinate system. And what I'm going to say my output is going to be called is going to be black bear, but in this case we're going to call it projected. And I'm going to run it. Okay, and so now you'll notice that I have that set of data here. And now the next step is this idea of the spatial join. And so I'm here, and what I want to do is, and you'll notice right up here in terms of our analysis and the analysis tab, you'll notice that I have an option of spatial join. And what's kind of nice is you'll notice that it shows the points inside polygons. Now, remember that what this little icon shows is a count of the points inside the polygons. What we're going to be doing now, though, I'm going to click on this, and you'll notice that the main idea here is I'm actually joining to the points. And so my target feature is going to be the projected black bears. My join feature is going to be the counties. The next step, though, is to get rid of some of the extraneous data. And what I'm going to do is scroll all the way down. You'll notice that there's a little bit too much information here. All I really need is the county, county ID, and FIPS. So I'm going to go down to the next one, and I'm going to just hit the X button, and that's going to eliminate that. And there we go. So now, the last piece that I want to do is what I'm going to call this. My output feature class now is black bears projected, and then what I'm going to add to that, and again, sometimes your names get rather long here, so you want to think about this. But black bears, and I'm going to keep the PR, and I'm going to say counties. Okay, and again, we're going to do a one-to-one join, and I'm going to click run. And now I can get rid of all of this other information here. I'm going to close my geoprocessing interface, and we don't need these, so I'm going to get rid of them. And what I want to notice is when I now open up the black bears, in terms of their attribute table, all the way out at the end, for each of the bears, I have a county listed. So again, I can now look at them that way. All right, that's it for this video.